Yo, welcome back to a new episode of The Untold. My name is Ray Frank. I will always be your host, and thank you very much for joining me. So, today I want to explain to you about a controversy that happened in December in Formula One, on where we're going to answer the question: was Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula One team robbed of their 8th Grand Prix title? Did Red Bull Racing deserve to win their first ever title with Max Verstappen? Here I'm going to answer all the questions, and I'm going to dive into the controversy, what happened, and what they could have done to change the events that took place. So it started out like a normal race. It was the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Both drivers, both Max Verstappen from Red Bull and Lewis Hamilton, had tied on points. So this was going to be like the title decider, the one that would decide who's going to win the title. So it starts well, nothing too much, and then I think around this corner is where like the controversy started. So Max Verstappen pushed Lewis Hamilton out of the racetrack. It was deemed as hard racing, like it was not illegal, it was not, but I felt like it was a little bit aggressive. And here's my issue sometimes with Max Verstappen. Sometimes he tends to take a lot of risks, and it sometimes can be a little bit aggressive on the steering wheel. So no investigation was needed because apparently Max Verstappen didn't touch Lewis Hamilton, and so the race just continued as normal. Nobody was penalized. As you can see, he didn't really touch him, he just slightly pushed him off the grid. But he came back, and I think he had to give back that position. So this is where the controversy started. Lap 53 on turn 14, Nicolas Latifi from Williams Racing crashed, and now they had to deploy something which is called a safety car to ensure that all the debris and all the other things are taken out so that the drivers do not end up crashing into him. So Max Verstappen pitted and changed to soft tires, while Lewis Hamilton stayed out and decided to stay out and not pit because he thought that he might lose his position, and I think that's why he didn't pit. So after he crashed, now they had to deploy the safety car under the FIA rules. Of course, for safety concern, you have to deploy the safety car. So by lap 57, they were still clearing up the mess, and they said lapped cars to not overtake the safety car, like the lapped cars that were behind by like one lap. Suddenly the rules changed, and the only cars that were allowed to overtake the safety car were between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. No other car behind that was overlapped, which I found quite crazy. And this allowed Max Verstappen to be near Lewis Hamilton. Now, the question is, why were only a few cars allowed to overtake the safety car while the rest were left at the back? So we waited for a while till the safety car ended, and there was a green light. Now Max Verstappen was on softer, fresher tires, close to Lewis Hamilton, who was on old tires. And you can imagine, now for those who don't watch Formula One, fresher tires are much faster than the old tires, and especially they are softer, so they have more grip. So now here's the unfortunate thing. Because his tires were old and they were on hard tires, Max Verstappen overtook him on this famous overtake. And this was really sad because you can imagine he was like around 11 seconds behind, and he somehow managed to cover all that distance. So to me, it felt very unfair that only a few sections of cars were taken and were told to overtake the safety car, which was quite funny. Normally no one overtakes the safety. Normally they're all told to overtake the safety car and catch up to the back of the pack. So Lewis Hamilton tried everything, but it was all too late, and there's not much he could do, honestly, because There's no way he could have overtaken Max Verstappen. This was the last lap, and yeah, Max Verstappen ended up winning the championship, which to me was quite interesting, because you can imagine Red Bull and Max Verstappen were 11 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, and yeah, as you can see, he ended up winning. So now that I have explained to you everything that happened, I want to dive into the controversy, and I want to explain to you what they could have done differently and what I believe should have happened, and what I think, and I would explain to you why I think they did this. And it lies in a lot of answers. There are a lot of answers to this. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this part. Now I want to move on to the next part, and I want to answer the question: was this a robbery or was this justice? Let's go. So, was Lewis Hamilton robbed of an 8th title? Well, it depends on how you look at it. So, what I found funny was the lapped cars that were only between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen were allowed to overtake, while the other cars that were overlapped by the rest of the pack were still behind and told to remain behind. That means that Max Verstappen was allowed to catch up to Lewis Hamilton, which to me, I was very, very surprised about it. And what's funny is that I found out later that Red Bull's team principal, like the CEO of the team, Christian Horner, was somehow able to convince the race director, Michael Massey, to allow the lapped cars to overtake, which to me was quite unfair. If you're going to allow all the cars to overtake, allow all of them. If not all of them, if it's either that or nobody overtakes the safety car. That's for me how it is. So Mercedes were really done for harsh. That's what I can say. But I believe Max Verstappen deserved to win the title, but not in this fashion, And my only question is, why didn't Lewis pit? And then I'm again like, you wouldn't imagine someone catching up to you who's that far behind, But then I would be like, well, maybe you should have gone for softer, fresher tires. But then, I don't think you would imagine in that time that Max Verstappen would catch up. Or here's also another theory I thought about. Maybe they could have ended it in like a safety car. But then again, I know what they were trying to do. They wanted a showdown between Red Bull versus Mercedes. And at the end of the day, who's the winner? Formula One. So that's been the end of this episode. I will see you in the next one. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think Lewis Hamilton was robbed, or do you think Max Verstappen and Red Bull deserved to win? Of course they deserve to win, but they deserve to win in that manner. So let me know down in the comments. See ya. Visca!